News 4 is uncovering new details tonight about the middle school student just 13 years old, shot and killed this weekend while trying to carjack an off-duty federal security officer. Today, the child's middle school principal described Vernard Toney as smart, funny, and talented. But we also learned he is no stranger to police. This Saturday was not the first time he was accused of stealing cars. News 4's Darcy Spencer has the new developments.
It was here on D Street Northwest, outside an office building, that 13-year-old Vernard Toney Jr. was shot and killed when he allegedly tried to carjack an off-duty federal security officer. It was around 10 Saturday night. Police say the officer was sitting in his car waiting for a shift to start when two juveniles told him to get out. According to the report, one of the teens had his hand in his front waistband pocket as if he had a handgun. And as he was complying, the officer pulled a gun and shot Toney in the chest. A second juvenile ran away. The off-duty officer's gun was the only one recovered from the scene.
Guns, carjackings, 13-year-olds, recipe for tragedy.
Two sources familiar with the investigation confirmed that Toney was arrested last May for a carjacking and robbery spree. This map shows the area where he allegedly committed 9 crimes in a 6-week period. News 4 reported he was 12 years old at the time. It's unclear what happened with those cases and why Toney was back on the street. In a one-on-one interview, Chief Pamela Smith told News 4 she wanted to be sensitive to the teen's parents and classmates.
He was known to the Metropolitan Police Department, and it's just unfortunate that this particular incident happened on Saturday night.
Toney was a 7th grader at Kelly Miller Middle School in Northeast D.C. We could see police presence at the school today. Counseling services were also being offered to students. The school principal sent a letter to parents saying Toney was a smart and talented student. He had a natural comedic ability and loved to make people laugh, especially when he would joke that he was the principal of Kelly Miller Middle. Vernard also loved to play basketball and spend his free time on the court with his friends. D.C.'s crime crisis was the subject of a council committee meeting earlier in the day. Leaders, community members, and victim families discussing violence reduction programs.
Everywhere I go, I hear people say that crime is the worst that they have seen, and it is driving our long-term residents out of the city.
According to D.C. crime stats, there have been 827 carjackings in the district so far this year. 74% of them involve guns, and most of those arrested are under 18.
And it's not all of our juveniles. I know we believe that there's a small number of juveniles. I believe, and I want to believe, and I'll go publicly and say the majority of our young people here in the District of Columbia are amazing young people.
Police tell us that off-duty security officer has cooperated in the investigation. At this point, no charges have been filed. In Northwest, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
D.C. police say more than 60% of carjacking suspects arrested this year are juveniles, and that incident on D Street isn't the only one the city is dealing with today.
This afternoon, an angry D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser lashed out at a judge who allowed a repeat suspect to go home instead of being sent to juvenile detention. The I-Team and reporter Ted Oberg first looked into this case on Friday. He's back now with us with new information. Ted?
Jim and this is a tragic back and forth over a deadly carjacking incident and the teen suspects allegedly involved. Our work shows the city may not have the room to keep up with this year's pace of juvenile crime in the district. Thursday morning, a teen girl died in this crash in D.C.'s Brentwood neighborhood. According to court testimony, 90 minutes earlier, she and her stepsister were allegedly part of a group who called and then carjacked an Uber driver. A city source confirms both the alleged suspect, now in custody, and her stepsister, who died in the accident, were previously charged. A judge ordered the suspect sent to a shelter home, a type of secure detention, but not juvenile jail. When space couldn't be found in a secure home after 2 weeks, the judge said she's to their parents with a GPS monitor. According to court testimony, 6 days later, the monitor's battery was dead while the young suspect was allegedly committing an armed carjacking. Today, Mayor Bowser expressed her frustration that a judge would allow both young women charged with violent crimes to go back to the community instead of being held in stepped-up secure detention.
And in my opinion, you've been arrested for the 7th time for carjacking. That is where you belong. The judge, however, DYRS does not make that decision. Judges do. And it's the judge's right to say, I prefer shelter, and if I can't get a shelter, then I'm going to send this child home. The child was sent home. The child is now not with us.
While it makes sense to send suspects like these to a secure facility, it's not that easy for the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. Take a look at today's population at the agency's Youth Service Center, its most secure facility. As of 11:15 this morning, you can see the numbers. The city agency reports 92 juveniles housed there, but it's an 88-bed facility. While there may be some overlap between kids coming in and kids going out, the point is there's not a lot of space there. And as first reported by DC Crime Facts, as they face more and more juvenile arrests in DC this year, the agency's budget was cut $2.3 million this year. Judges, by the way, can't comment on pending cases outside of court. There's another hearing scheduled in this case on November 13th. Jim and Owen?
Just beyond disturbing. All right, Ted Oberg, thanks for digging into this for us. We appreciate it.